All righty. Welcome to episode 3 of the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. After a little Thanksgiving break, we're back to break
Nice.
down everything happening in the NFL, the NBA, talk some college football playoffs, who's going to win the national title, all that fun stuff. So, how was your Thanksgiving? I know we just talked about it a little bit off air, but let the folks know.
Yeah, my Thanksgiving was pretty good. Spent it in Philly, obviously, and just watched the parades, our local parade, and got to be a company man, the NBC Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Did you watch
Um,
the dog show?
I did not, I did not,
Oh,
I did not, but I did see that one of them small dogs won. So
the
very happy to
terrier.
see.
Yeah,
One
I
very
worked the dog show, so
yeah,
it was very fun. I was down in Philly
yeah,
the week before for the dog show, which was awesome. Coolest
yeah,
experience ever.
yeah. It's a
Um,
great. Yeah, I went
just
last year. It was a great time.
oh, there's just dogs everywhere. It's amazing.
Right, right.
Just
Yes,
like
yes.
cuddle
So,
with the dogs.
yeah, yeah. Did you pet one? Did you
All
get a
of
lot
them.
of
I
pets?
pet
All of
all of them. All of the dogs.
them.
I pet every dog I could find.
It's a good time, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's a good
Um,
time. Yeah, how was yours?
It was nice. It was nice. We were up in little about 45 minutes north in Connecticut, where Dan's family's from. So we were there. They have a huge family. So there was like 25 people ish there and kids, and it was fun. Definitely a good time. It's always fun and crazy. And by the end of the night, you're like, whew, I am ready for a glass of wine and silence, but in the best way. Um, yeah, his mom is an amazing cook, so it's always really yummy. And she's nice enough that there's a few of us that are gluten free, so she cooks a whole bunch of gluten free stuff for us. So the stuffing's gluten free, mac and cheese is gluten free,
Hmm,
gravy, all that stuff, which is awesome.
okay. Are you gluten free person? Or
Yeah, yeah.
ah,
Since college,
didn't know that. Okay, cool.
yeah,
That's good.
it's a really fun life I live. Um, but
Ah,
you know, it is what
that's-
it is. But yeah, so it's nice to go wherever we go up there. Like all the desserts are gluten free, so it's good. It's nice. But let's get right into it. So, first thing we're going to talk about is probably your favorite, but also took maybe 10 years off of your life game.
it did.
Bills versus Eagles. What a crazy game. I mean, we knew it was going to be a good game. I think we kind of knew that Josh Allen was out for revenge, but I did not expect this. So give me your initial thoughts.
Man, man, man. Oh Lord, where do I start? So first off, what a great but sloppy game on both sides, right? Like it was
Yes.
rainy, it was wet. It's two teams from the Northeast. You would have thought that both of them can't play in the rain. I don't know what happened, but it was a great game. My quick thoughts. Hurts MVP. I mean, like, come on now, like I have never seen somebody like so cool under pressure, and still find some way, even when it's terrible, when he has every reason to give up, down by 10 points once again, everything working against him, down 10 points. Josh Allen, like I said in my article, carving the Eagles defense up like they were unfortunate teenagers in a slasher film. Like, it was just crazy, crazy, crazy game. And then like that field goal, Josh Elliott, one of the clutchest kickers in the league, man, coming through for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts getting them down there. I mean, it's a crazy stat that Josh Allen is 0-6 in overtime to his career. I mean, really probably 0-5 because one of them really wasn't his fault. The one that changed the rule really should have
I don't
changed
think this one was his fault either. That was a crazy drop in the end zone. They should have won that.
it. You just
Playing devil's advocate.
changed the changed the rules, but it was a crazy game. Like I said, Jalen Hurts MVP. I mean, he really like them throws. That second half for Jalen Hurts, I don't know what happened, but that second half was the real Jalen Hurts, man. He was
Yeah.
just again, making throws, that unbelievable back shoulder, back of the end zone. I thought he was throwing it out of balance to Zacchaeus. Like it was a crazy game, man. Like I said, Jalen Hurts MVP. They shut down AJ Brown, so he had to spread the love, and he spread the love really, really well. I wish the Eagles would get this offensive continuity going earlier, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, like my early thoughts, man. The Eagles are just find ways to win, man. And honestly, even though it takes years off my life, I would rather that they, speaking as the journalist right now, not the fan, I like these games being close. I think really helped them out. Especially last year, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they had it too easy," blah blah
Yes.
blah blah. They'll fold in the Super Bowl, and whatever they shot Patrick Mahomes' leg up with, they kind of folded. So the fact that they're winning hard, they got got the Super Bowl monkey off their back, and now they beat Josh Allen. It's like some teams would fold losing
Yes.
by 10 points, but the Eagles just keep finding ways to win, and I feel like this is going to be great for them in the playoffs. Now, hopefully, they won't be down 10 points more than likely in Philadelphia during a playoff game, but hey, you're building that confidence, and it's really good. And like we said, man, I mean, it's crazy. Like Jalen Hurts, since he's been a starter, has only lost 2 games. Like 2 games since he's been a full-time starter. One of them being the Super Bowl, and the one being that crazy game against the Commanders where they basically played keep away from the Eagles, right? So
Yeah.
like your hometown team right there. So like it's just crazy. And they don't lose when Jalen Hurts plays. That's it. If Jalen Hurts is on the field, the Eagles don't lose. I mean,
Yes.
that's the long and short of it.
I think that this kind of goes into like the next question that we have here is that, are the Eagles the best team in the league? And I think that what makes them so special is that even when they might not be playing the best on the field, like they might not be the better team on the field, they might, be being outplayed by other teams, they still find a way to win. And I think that's such an important factor that, you know, if somebody is having a bad game or there's somebody is being shut down, somebody is being covered, other players will step up and find a way to win. And I think that is such an important factor because there are teams like the Bills where if one player does not have the game of their life, they're not going to win. And that's not the case with the Eagles. The Eagles have so many different weapons, so many ways to beat you. They can beat you running, they can beat you in the pass game. Jalen Hurts can run. They got the tush push. There's 1,000 ways that they can beat you. And even when like some of their star players, like Kelsey didn't have the best game of his career, those 2 false starts were pretty massive.
Ooh, brutal.
AJ Brown didn't
Brutal.
do much. Like, he did obviously had some amazing plays, but it wasn't game takeover. But they still found ways to win. They got the ball to different people, they moved it around. And so I think they're definitely a huge contender for the best team in the league. I think in my brain, the 49ers are up there with them too. The same for the exact same kind of reason where like they have, again, so many weapons that they can beat you with.
Mm-hmm. Now, to me, it's the Eagles, and it's only the Eagles
Well,
because,
of
like,
course it is.
the Niners are great. Obviously, you have the Chiefs. They have an identical record to the Niners, but I mean, like in this league, like it's crazy. The Eagles are the first team since the 1990s Bills. So when we were all like in diapers, to like have a 10-1 record after losing a Super Bowl. I mean, I think the psyche of losing a Super Bowl really psychs teams out and would make teams fold. But the Eagles just keep it going, man. Like I said, I really do believe that they're the best team in the NFL, not just simply because of what you just said, right? Like they can beat you multiple ways. Like you should be worried as a team if you're not beating the Eagles by 14 to 20 points. Because we
Well,
see because
they have they
we've
keep
seen
you
what happens
prepped for it.
yeah.
You okay, you got the run game covered, fine. They'll beat you up in the pass game. It's how do you prep for that in a week? You have to start preparing for the Eagles like 3 weeks in advance. And I genuinely think that this, and again, this goes into this next question, that they aren't even having to play their best football yet because I think so many of these teams are so scared of the Eagles that they're just counting it as a loss. That might be a hot take, but I think a lot of these teams come in, they're like, okay, it's the Eagles, we're gonna lose. And they just know that. And like, they can play them hard for a little bit. They kind of give all their crazy plays, trick plays, whatever they have in the first half. And then the second half, the other teams just somehow always seem to fall apart and the Eagles seem to find a way. And I think a lot of that is that these teams don't have the people or the capacity to cover all of the different ways that the Eagles can beat you, specifically on their defenses. And then you turn around and the Eagles defense is literally the Georgia Bulldogs. They are huge and they run you over and you can't, I mean, it has to be terrifying. And again, I've never played football in my life, but it has to be terrifying to line up against honestly, either line for the Eagles, but specifically the defensive line. I mean, that is terrifying. And so my hot take is I think a lot of teams go into this being like, this is a loss. It's okay. We just don't want to get anybody hurt.
Yeah, I honestly think that, like I said, it's crazy. The stats from this game are just crazy, right? Like, as we know, as I just said, the Jalen Hurts, since he's been a full-time starter, has only lost 2 games, the Super Bowl, and then that game of keep away. We won't even call it a Monday Night Football game. The game of keep away that was that game against the Commanders and the Eagles. So really the only way to really beat the Eagles, if you're going to beat the Eagles, is you're going to have a crazy stat. You have to be like Josh Allen was on Sunday. You have to be near perfect to beat the Eagles. No interceptions, which he didn't have until later. Taking full advantage of the fact that right now, up until they signed Shaq Leonard, it's between them and the Cowboys. I don't think I'm really breaking news there. Up until they signed Shaq Leonard, like they can be had in the middle because obviously, linebackers, it's not really a thing for the Eagles this year. So they can be had there. But I mean, eventually, and the crazy thing is, you mentioned the defensive line, but they didn't even really show up in this game, right? They didn't really get a sack on him until later. And obviously that was an important time. The other Eagles fans would probably have it that the defensive line would have sacked that man about 8 times because they definitely had him for at least 8 sacks in that game. But Josh Allen is basically a running back. So he was running people over like it was nothing. So it was a crazy game. I mean, some crazy stats. The Eagles just played the 2 best and most elusive quarterbacks beside the court. Obviously, they don't sack Jalen Hurts outside of practice, so take Jalen Hurts out of this. The 2 most elusive quarterbacks in the league. It's hard to get Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen down. So when people look at it, people are all like, man, that defensive line didn't really show up these last 2 games. But that's because when you're going up against 2 of the most elusive quarterbacks besides the one that you have on your team, you're only going to get 1 to 2 sacks a game off them, and even when they got those sacks, literally one person had Josh Allen by his legs, the other one went by his chest, even get him down. Even that was he even almost got out of that.
Yeah, so, he's a hard one. I mean, he's huge. Right. He is.
I mean, I've never seen him in person, but he looks huge. So.
He's big. He's a big dude. He shakes your hand, and his hand just engulfs yours, and you're like, it's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of quarterbacks, but he's big. He's not built. He's built like a truck.
Okay. Yeah. You've been to Bill's training camp, so you've seen him in person. I haven't.
Yeah, I did. We did an interview with him and Von Miller last year too. We went up to Buffalo, and which was really very, very cool. Yeah. But speaking of that, should the Bills blow it up? And I have a lot of opinions on this. I struggle with this because they have talent, but they don't have playmakers. You saw on Sunday, it was literally Josh Allen against the world. And he just took off and did so much for that team. That was one of the most impressive quarterback plays that I have seen in a while. He is so good at that position. But, and I will quote Chris Sims here, there's nothing in the rule book that says that somebody else on the field can't do something. You know, it seems like their entire playbook is Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen. Well, okay, the defense could make a stop. Somebody could catch a ball. The offensive line could make a hole for a running back. It just seems like Josh Allen is their only hope. And somehow he also gets all the criticism on him as well. So I think Sean McDermott, he's got to go.
Mm, mm,
I think he's been there for a long time. And I think what's really sucky in this situation is that they kind of missed their window for winning a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like the
mm.
year where they lost to the Chiefs in OT,
Hot take right there.
I think that was their year. And I think they've only just kind of gotten older and slower and
Mhm.
kind of lost big playmakers. And I don't think they necessarily need to blow it up, but I think that they need to get some superstars on that team. And I think that they need people that are going to make plays that aren't
Mhm.
named Josh Allen because he can only do so much.
Mhm. I think I am in agreement that they need to blow it up because I don't think it gets any better. It's unfortunate, Buffalo Bills. I know for the fans, for Bills Mafia. I
And
know
I
you got
love the Bills. Like I like let me tell you, I love the Bills. I have loved meeting every player I've met from them. They're all nice. They're all awesome. Like they are a team that I genuinely root for, which makes this so hard because I care about them and I would love to see them win a Super Bowl. But it's not going to happen with this team and this coach.
yeah, yeah, and I think that I at this point I think that the only untouchables on that offensive on that team should be Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid, right? Because like
Yeah,
he can make plays. I mean, he had
kid's good.
drops. He
Yeah.
had he had a bunch of drops against the Eagles, which is great if you're an Eagles fan. Unfortunate if you're a Bills fan. But it's time to trade. If I'm the Bills, I'm trading Stephon Diggs. I'm
He needs
going
to
to.
go.
I'm
There's too much drama with it and
right.
yeah.
I'm going to trade Diggs, unfortunately, because he is from Philly and he grew and he cut his teeth here in Philadelphia as an Eagles coordinator. Yeah, you got to let Shawnee boy go. You got to get some draft picks, man. Unfortunately for the Bills and the way it works in the NFL, unless you're trading, they're not going to have a top 10 pick. They need to get a top 10 pick. They need to find a way to get into that Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes. Like if anybody, I don't even know. I don't. We don't really hear too much about the Bills GM, but the Bills GM needs to get on his Howie Roseman and find a way to get up to the top 10 and find a way to get Marvin Harrison Jr., get a receiver, get a big time receiver. You got your big time tight end, right? Go up there.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What do you think about this? What do you think about the idea of trading Diggs plus somebody to another team to get into that top 10 pick?
I think that would be a start, right? I don't know if Diggs and another player gets it done. They'll probably have to give up a lot of picks, but it'll probably have to resemble an NBA deal, right? Like
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, salary dumps and like picks. But I mean, AJ Brown got traded for a second round pick, so I mean it's not unheard of. So
Yeah.
I don't know if Stephon Diggs will net. Maybe if you trade with the Panthers because they need a receiver now.
They do. That's true. That's true. They do.
So
They also their first round pick is to the Bears.
oh yeah, so maybe if you trade with the Bears, and you throw in an offensive lineman because they need that.
Yes. That could
Maybe
work.
yeah, maybe that could work. But yeah, they need to find a way. Obviously, the Bears will most likely, or the Patriot. Basically, it's the Bears, Cardinals, and Patriots. Of those three teams, the only team that needs a quarterback is the Patriots, and that's probably why we're not talking about this today. That's probably definitely why Caleb Williams is all like it's a game time decision whether I'm leaving or not because he's waiting to see where he's going to go. And if he goes to New England, it's definitely not going to be good for him. It'll be good for him, but I mean, Bill Belichick has to go, and
Yeah. Well,
they're not going to pick
I
it.
think that that's kind of a done deal. I
Bill
think
Belichick would have to go in order for, and I'm not saying that he's a fun killer or anything, but I mean, come on, we all know the stance of the Patriots, right? And like,
yeah.
but like, yeah, the Bills have to find a way to get a receiver. They need a running back. It is Chris Sims and Mike Florio. myself, you, we say this all the time. The Bills need a dang running.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
say it a lot less clean than I just said it, but they need a running back.
yeah, yeah,
It is unheard of that they have Dalvin Cook's brother. I don't want to be disrespectful. I think it's James Cook, right? James Cook,
yeah.
like,
That's right.
and like they have nothing else. Devin Singletary. It's funny what happened to Devin Singletary, right? He got out of Buffalo. Now he's like top 5, top 10 running
I
back
know.
again. And like, I'm just saying, like, what is it? Like, is it the offensive line? Maybe the Bills just need a new offensive line, right? Is it the offensive line? Like,
It's
it
looked
seems.
better with the new offensive coordinator, I have to say. So that probably could have played a big part of it. But
And Josh
I don't
Allen
know.
stopped holding the ball too. Like, I love Josh Allen, but like the one knock on him is the same knock on Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. All three of these guys have the same thing. They hold the ball too long. He
Yeah.
was getting the
Well,
ball out mad quick. So
let's compare that. So kind of the next thing we wanted to talk about was, is Josh Allen elite or has Jalen Hurts surpassed him? We talked about this a little bit before, and I kind of said, I kind of already just said how I feel about Josh Allen. I think he is one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. I think the fact that he can do anything with this offense right now is impressive. Now, this is not to take anything away from Jalen Hurts, because I just think Jalen Hurts is an unbelievable quarterback, and I think he's doing unbelievable things. But you can't deny that he has more help on offense than Josh Allen does. He has an amazing offensive line. He has amazing assets around him with the running game, with the pass game. But I but I don't know what would happen. So my thing is, if you switch them, so if you took Jalen Hurts and put him on the Bills, you put Josh Allen and put him on the Eagles, I think the results would be similar. I think that they're both really, really, really solid quarterbacks, but you can't win completely by yourself. So I think they're very similar. I think Josh Allen is still elite. And I don't know if Jalen Hurts has surpassed him, but I think Jalen Hurts at least has definitely like caught up in the eye of like the media and things like that. I think Jalen Hurts is in that conversation as one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to hot take incoming. Jalen Hurts has surpassed Josh Allen. I'm sorry, y'all. Bills Mafia, you can come for me at Kylan W. Watson. On Twitter/X. It's done, man. Like, I like Josh Allen. I just got through like, giving him a bunch of praise, as you guys just saw the last few minutes. I mean, he's dating Haley Steinfeld. Like, I mean, he's winning at life. like, so like he's dating Gwen Stacy. He's good. He's good in life. But he's a great quarterback. But I mean, after a while, it's about wins, baby. And you just said that it's a more complete team, right? But that's not Josh. That's not Jalen Hurts' fault. That's not Josh Allen's fault. That's on the GMs, right? So a lot of this to me, I'm just comparing two players, right? Josh Allen can do a lot. He's got the better arm than Jalen Hurts, but not by much. Jalen Hurts, like you said, has made that even more of a competition than it was last year and the year before that. A lot of people have Josh Allen in top 2, and I think like he's a top 4 quarterback. I don't necessarily think he's top 2. I think number 1 is clearly Patrick Mahomes, and then you could have a debate after that. But like I just feel like if we're just comparing pure skills, I think that is Jalen Hurts because honestly, I think Josh Allen has been surpassed not just by Jalen Hurts but also by Joe Burrow, just off the simple fact that those are two quarterbacks that have been to a Super Bowl, and outside of that MVP that I think Josh Allen has, he really has nothing else over Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. So, like, to me, both of those quarterbacks are younger. They're where the future is. Like, Josh Allen can run, he can throw, but unfortunately for him, he doesn't have what Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes have, which is that they're like, obviously Patrick Mahomes is more this than the other two, but Jalen Hurts is making a comparison, as I said over the summer. Like, Patrick Mahomes is a cheat code. He's the rare candy code that we all used to have with Pokemon, that code that we all wanted, that, right, left trigger, XX triangle, that cheat code for Mortal Kombat, right? Like that's Patrick Mahomes, and that's Jalen Hurts. I keep saying Jalen Hurts has only lost twice in the last 2 years. One of those being to your hometown team, and the other one being the Patrick Mahomes. So if you're not Patrick Mahomes or the or last year's Washington Commanders, he's not losing to you.
Or this
So
year's Washington Commanders. That for whatever reason, y'all struggle with the Commanders, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But the Commanders,
we're undefeated this year, so we're good.
I know. Not by much. You went to they took you to OT. So
It's
don't
all
be
good. It's
bragging
all
about
good.
that.
It's all good.
Okay, so let's keep within the realm of the Eagles, but let's move on to their upcoming game. So they're in this like gauntlet of tough games, right? It's just tough game after tough game. So this, I think, is going to be the best game of the weekend by far. And I think this is the two best teams in the league, the two most complete teams in the league. I'll put it that way, playing against each other. You always have to put the Chiefs in there because of Mahomes. Dallas, I still can't really tell if they're just winning against good teams or if they're actually good. I genuinely can't tell. Kind of same with Miami.
They're not. The Cowboys are not good.
Miami has a lot of really good players, but I think that the injuries kind of keep hurting them. But I think these are the two most complete teams. They have multiple ways to beat you. They have really tough defenses. They have smart coaches that do creative things on both offense and defense. So I don't know, when we're talking about who's going to have the most impact on this winning, right? I still think it's got to be the offenses on both sides. I think that for the 49ers, you have to be able to get the ball to McCaffrey and to Kittle, and you have to keep Brock Purdy protected and not put him in a vulnerable situation. Use those schemes that you have to get the ball out as quickly as possible. You have to get Ayuk, involved. And if you can do that, if you can mix the ball up and get it all around, it's hard to cover because, again, they have so many assets. Same on the other side. I think for the Eagles, you have to get that run game going early. You have to use Jalen Hurts' legs as well, which, makes that confusing on the defense because, again, they can beat you two different ways on the ground and then surprise you with a long pass over the middle.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's got to be the 49ers defense. So it's got to be Greenlaw, Ward, and them making some stops. And it's got to be, it's on the Eagles running backs, specifically to keep it going. And, I just
have to get that running game early in the game.
I think that, I don't really put too much stock in the 49ers just because, like, outside of tight end and receiver and one running back, it's not really a good team. This is no knock on the 49ers, but come on now, one injury shouldn't delay your team.
It's fair.
I mean, if we know one thing about the Niners this season, and we know everything, a lot of things, like the schedule. I tweeted this a couple weeks ago. Like, the schedule watchers look mad stupid right now because they said they were going to lose to the Chiefs, didn't lose to the Chiefs. Said they were going to lose to the Bills, didn't lose to the Bills. And they are clearly going to be up for this game because the Niners have been talking mad trash since the NFC Championship game. So if there's any team that should be scared, I would caution you this: if you think that the 49ers are going to win this game, here's what I will tell you, right? The Eagles have been mad chill about this. They've said, we don't care. It's just a regular season game. They said the same thing about the Chiefs, and what happened? They are going to be up at this game. If there's any game that they are going to, make sure that they kill a team, it'll be this team. Because they have all the motivation, because the 49ers have been doing all the talking since August. You've got
I mean, I think that the 49ers are pissed. I think that, that the game last year, and again, I don't know what would have happened if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt, right? I think
still would have lost.
They might have won. Who knows?
Let me help you out. They still would have lost.
But I think that the 49ers are saying, ooh, no one knows what would have happened, blah, 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 blah. So I think that both teams are coming out with a chip on their shoulder. Both teams are going to come out bad.
Can I punch holes in the 49ers argument for a minute though?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
you only were down a quarterback. Your defense was healthy, and they
That's
still
true.
they hung 40 points on you. So like
That's
you
true.
can't really have that argument. You can
Yeah.
have the argument on offense, but the fact still remains: Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert probably won't be playing, but AJ Brown and them still carved y'all up. Like Devontae Smith is still going to be there. Like AJ Brown still Moss Ward. Like it's the same thing, right? Like again, I will 49ers are a great team. I like them. They're a great franchise, but they've been doing too much whining for me. Like we saw this last year. Like one injury should not derail your team, right?
Sure.
And that injury is really truth be told, is on the smart man, their coach, because why would you put a tight end on Hassan Reddick? Like why would you why would you do that if you know your quarterback is on injury? And it's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't even Kittle. It was your backup tight end. You already knew what was going to happen. And now the Eagles have Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
You got Jordan Davis playing more now. Like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox don't even play like that anymore. like you have a way more mature and way more deadly Eagles defensive line that you got to deal with. And you're talking trash before the game.
So okay, so I'm gonna read you some quotes. So Reddick, is it Rhetoric? How do you say his last name?
Reddick. Hassan
Reddick.
Reddick.
That's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick. He said, um, "Oh my gosh, I just had it. Where'd it go?" Oh, he said it was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what ifs, a lot of this, a lot of that. They had a chance to come in here, line that up, and prove it again. Or they get a chance to come back in here and line that and prove it again, which is fair. So when asked about that, then Kittle said it's a fantastic football team, a team who doesn't lose. They find a way to win every single game, whether it's overtime, whether it's grinding rather, their players are making plays, and this is going to be our toughest challenge, in my opinion, so far this season. It's also probably one of the most hostile environments. So I think that the 49ers are going in knowing when they're playing in Philly, which is never easy because you guys can be a little hostile, but I think that there's so much hype for this game. And I think that there's so many impact players that could make an impact. Whether it's the running backs for the Eagles, whether it's Kittle, I don't think it's going to be Purdy, whether it's Hurts, I think whether it's, whether it is Hassan Reddick, what it's going to be, I don't know, but I know that we're going to look back on this game and be like, yeah, that made sense. I don't think there's going to be any surprises. There's so many big stars in this game that I think it's going to be one of these big stars that are going to make a big impact.
Okay. Well, let me tell you who's gonna make the big impact.
Okay. I have some guesses on who you're going to say, but
all right. So it's
bring it
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
He's going to have a game, because if there's any game where that trade is gonna be important for the Eagles, it'll be this game, because the Niners can be had, as we've seen before, but they haven't been had the way the Eagles are gonna have them this week. This is going to be 49ers fans. I'm going to give you a preview. I didn't go to any Eagles practices, but I know my team better than they know themselves. They are going to screen y'all to death. Expect a lot of DeAndre Swift and Devontae Smith screens. You don't have to worry about Dallas Goedert because he won't be playing. So expect a lot of screens. Expect DeAndre Swift making Dre Greenlaw and the rest of that backfield look hella silly. Like, just expect a lot of crossovers. You're going to think Allen Iverson has come back on that football field the way he's going to be crossing your guys over and breaking ankles. Expect a lot of DeAndre Swift, and expect Brock Purdy to see a lot of Jalen Carter and basically just give Jalen Carter his jersey, because Jalen Carter is going to be right there making Trent Williams and the rest of that weak offensive line look even weaker than they are. So just Carter and Swift, put that in your pipe and smoke it. And for y'all on y'all side, it will probably be McCaffrey, just because the Eagles, they don't give up much, but they will let you have runs. They will let you have them back-breaking runs, but they bend and don't break, as the Bills found out, as Isaiah Pacheco found out. You can have the Eagles during the first. All I'll say about this is this: like, and then I'll get into we can move on to predictions. But like, you better hope if you're a Niners fan that you are winning. If you are winning, you're winning by more than 10 points. Because
Yes,
if you're not winning by more than 10 points, you're going to lose this game. Like,
that's fair. Um,
you accidentally muted yourself. We can't hear you. Morgan, you're muted. I can't hear you. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I can't hear you. Nope. Live TV, folks. Live show. Um, but yeah, why she figures that out. Let's kill some time real quick. Yeah. Still can't hear you more.
I muted myself.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
From
so
the look
who do you have winning? I know it's the Eagles, but who?
from the look of your face, you know, I have the Eagles winning.
Shock.
I think,
Shocking.
I think it will be a close game. I am going to say it will be 37-30 Eagles.
Okay. Oof. I'm going to say 21-24 San Francisco. I'm going to say low scoring game because I think these defenses are good. They're going to do some stop. Okay. And I think both of these teams don't like settling for field goals. So I feel like there'll be a lot of, especially the Eagles, there'll be a lot of go for it on fourth downs. And maybe they'll find a way to stop the tush push. I doubt it. But let's move on to my favorite team.
Yes, your Giants. Tommy DeVito. Giants got that dub. All right, Morgan.
I'm having, at this point in the season, I'm having fun. Tommy DeVito's fun to root for. His family's funny. The players seem to love him. It's a cool story. Is he our new franchise quarterback? No. But I don't know. I'm not necessarily also that worried about draft picks. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think a lot of the pieces that we need aren't things that we need to be in a top 10 pick for, if that makes sense. Like we don't need a quarterback. We have Daniel Jones. I'm fine with him. We paid him a lot of money. I think we stick it out with him. And again, if him and Saquon are on the field at the same time, I feel a lot better. Mm-hmm. We need some offensive line protection for sure. And I think that's something that we can get, not having to be, we're not going for some of those quarterbacks that are going to go in the top 4, whatever. So I think we have some fun, find out what some of these players can do. I'm okay winning a few more games. Doesn't bother me. I think it's fun. Like I said, I'm having fun. It's the first time this season that I've had fun watching the Giants play. So it's cool. It's like watching a kid. It's like watching a movie, like this kid lives 9 minutes away from the stadium, playing for his hometown team. Like, I don't know. It's just cool. Getting chicken cutlets sent to him. Like, I think it's fun. I have nothing bad to say. It's I don't think he's our franchise quarterback. I don't think he's going to be here forever. But also, not bad to know that the kid can actually play. Given some time, he can make some throws. Again, we're also playing dog crap teams, but it's been fun. It'll be nice to have a bye this week.
You play who's in front of you, man, and I'm glad they made you wrap up of your Thanksgiving very, 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 very.
Yes, they did, and it was good. And that's kind of honestly like that's all there is to say, right? Like they're fun. They're not going to do anything. They're not making the playoffs, but like.
I mean, I get to see your teams because the Eagles play at 4:00, so it's always delightful to see the Giants play, and it makes all the Giants fans, not just in our building, but the ones in my life, happy. So yeah. I know, my mentor David Barnes was very happy with that win.
Right, and it's like this at this point in the season, we're not doing anything, right? We're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to do anything. So why not like have some fun and win some games that don't mean much, but that are fun. So we'll see if they can keep it up. Who knows? Let's see if he can continue to get better, right? If he can, that'd be great. If not, Danny Dimes will be back next year, and I'm happy with that too. So
So you don't want them in the Luke May sweepstakes or Caleb
I
Williams sweepstakes?
I think we paid Daniel Jones way too much money to pick up another quarterback right now, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. Um, so we'll see. I don't think they're going to pick up a quarterback. They need offensive linemen. They need a solid offensive line because no matter what quarterback they get, they have no one to protect him. They're going to be terrible and they're going to get hurt, especially playing at MetLife. So
Yeah, it's time to get some grass in there.
something is not going to tear everyone's ACLs and Achilles. It's crazy. All right, so we are going to move on to different sports. We're going to move on to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with the 76ers, and I'm going to let you talk and just tell me how you're feeling. How are we feeling about them?
Okay, so I think the Sixers are a good team, great team, obviously, but unfortunately last night because of an illness that is apparently running through the Sixers, Joel Embiid did not play last night, and they 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 were that game was threatening to be more than an 8-point loss, um, like it was yesterday. It started out as a 29-point halftime deficit, and they thought back. Tyrese Maxey is looking great. As I've said before, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey are the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. I know it's going to have a lot of people shocked, but yes, they average about 30 points and account for 30 other points. That they account for about 60 plus points. So I mean, like, they lost and we're losing by basically the amount plus more that Joel Embiid scores a night. 31. They were losing by 29. So if Joel Embiid was on the floor, they probably don't lose to the Pelicans, right? And like they beat the Thunder, they beat the Lakers. It's funny, like they beat a team by 44 on Tuesday, the Lakers, and then lose to a team almost by that much, or were losing by that much to the Pelicans last night. And that's just, the Sixers are a great team, but they're missing a couple of things, especially right now with the loss of Kelly Oubre Jr., who it seems like he might come back on Friday. So be happy, Sixers fans. It's looking good, barring a setback, that he will be ready for the Celtics games, which, I mean, let's be real, that's the game that most Sixers fans care about more than anything else this week. It's the Sixers Celtics tomorrow night. So I am assuming, not seeing the injury report right now, I'm assuming that Joel Embiid will play. And like I said, I believe barring a setback, don't hold me to this tomorrow night if he doesn't play, but barring a setback and barring, as we all know, the overcautiousness of the Sixers medical staff, Kelly Oubre should play. So that should add more punch to the bench. Obviously you have to watch. Nick Batum kind of injured his finger, so we'll see if he'll play. But the Sixers are a great team. They have way more. It's way more positive vibes around that team than I thought would be right now at the end of November. I thought they would still have James Harden and he would be a drag on that team, but they're doing good. They're fourth in the loaded Eastern Conference. They are basically top two. I mean, the Magic are like the surprise. Like, who really? Shout out to Steven D'Agostino, who thought the Orlando Magic would be a good team this year. So, like 12-5, 13-5, whatever they are. Shout out to them. But we all know it's the Sixers, Bucks, and Celtics conference. But shout out to the Magic for being a surprise team, coming up and making us all look stupid for not thinking that you guys would be good. I think I said that over the summer that they were going to be good, but I didn't think top 4, top 5 in the Eastern Conference good. So, good for them. The Sixers are one of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, and the top 4 team in the NBA for a championship. And I think what they're missing, honestly, is a third scorer. Like, I love Tobias Harris. He's been great this season so far, but unfortunately, like, he has these games where he goes up and down. Loving the fact that he's got more consistent, being a 19 to a 20 point 20-10 score a night. But they need a third scorer. I don't necessarily know if that's Zach LaVine. I know some Sixers fans, they want OG Anunoby, but they definitely need a third scorer and then a guard off the bench. I mean, right now, I like Nick Nurse, but right now he's acting like he's Tom Thibodeau because he is running Tyrese Maxey into the ground. Like right now, I just saw a stat like Tyrese Maxey right now leads the league in minutes at about 40, 41 a night. So I would like that to come down, not just as a Sixers journalist and reporter. I'm speaking more as that right now. But if I could put the fan hat on again, like 40 minutes for a 23-year-old. He's younger than both of us, a 23-year-old. I mean, I've seen this before, and I'm not saying that this will happen, but I do not want to see Tyrese Maxey end up like Derrick Rose, right? Like Derrick Rose is a great player. He was a great player. He was crossing people up. We all remember like what young Derrick Rose looked like before he broke his leg. I'm not saying that will happen to Tyrese Maxey, but I would like for him not to be playing 40 plus minutes a night, right? So like I would like to take that out of the realm of possibility, especially with him having a big payday at the end of this year because he's definitely getting that extension from the Sixers. So if that can come down, and that can come down if the Sixers, if Daryl Morey, if the Brain Trust finds a way to get another point guard off the bench here who can score and isn't afraid to shoot. Obviously, like I said in my article yesterday about this dead Sixers, that they definitely need a point guard off the bench so that Tyrese Maxey isn't playing 40 minutes a night. I love Patrick Beverly, but that's not him previewing our segment later. Like love Pat Bev. He is him, but he's not him when it comes to being a playmaker at a point guard. They definitely need another point guard off the bench. And like I said, Kelly Oubre should be coming back in these next couple of games, so that should alleviate some of the worries that some Sixers fans have about the fact that there's no scoring off the bench. That should probably alleviate that one. And they need that third piece. But they get that third piece that can pair with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. I think that they end up in the championship. Now, who that is it Zach LaVine? Is it OG Anunoby? Is it Pascal Siakam? Is it somebody else? We do not know. But I think that the Sixers are in the driver's seat right now, and they'll be a top team. So let's move on to the other thing.
Wait, before we move on though, this is actually a fun game, the Pelicans one. So Dan and I have been not a ton following, but we have been fans of the Pelicans now since Jordan Hawkins has started playing his butt off on them, UConn alum, crushing it out there. So this was fun. It's fun to see him getting a ton of minutes. I mean, he played 24 minutes last night, 16 points, which is great. It's fun. He was so electric last year in our March Madness run. So shout out to Jordan Hawkins. He's been fun to watch this season.
Yes, him and that wonky shooting
yeah, stance. It's crazy with the feet kicked out. Like it's wild. He got a lot of he gets a lot of calls on that because he sticks his feet out and people hit his feet and he gets 3-point foul shots, which is awesome.
Yeah, that family's wild.
Yeah, I mean, Angel Reese, his cousin, like
her brother, like shout out to that whole family.
They're cool. They're ballers. All right, so let's talk about this in-season tournament. We kind of talked about this a little bit on the last episode. My thoughts kind of really haven't changed. I think it's way too early for there to be an in-season tournament. I don't think it's made it more exciting. I think it's been confusing, in my opinion. I think I hate the courts, and I know that might be like an old person like thoughts. Like I think the courts are dumb. I don't like how like the colorful, and I know that's stupid. Like you would think I would love them. I'm like it's too much. I don't think the teams have been playing together enough to be gelled to be doing a tournament. And like I know they do it in college, and I don't know why it works in college and it doesn't work in the NBA. Because in college it's awesome. Like it really is fun to have these like little mini tournaments around Thanksgiving. And I don't, and again, maybe that's just my opinion. I just don't love him in the NBA right now rather than I love him in college. I think their college is fun. Not loving it in the NBA. How about you?
Yeah, I have the same opinion of it that I had with the play-in tournament, right? Like initially, I was like, and we talked about this over in our summer broadcast. Like I was like, gotta wait and see, right? I think I agree with you that it's too early. I really don't like the colorful floors,
They're
and
horrible.
my favorite color is red. So you think I would love the Sixers court, but like after seeing it twice, I was like, you know what, this is too much red even for me. like
It's like
like
hard to watch. It makes
yeah,
it, I don't know, it makes it confusing.
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Maybe the courts need to change. But the in season tournament is exciting, and I'm not gonna hate on it just because the Sixers didn't make it. I think it's a great idea. I think it would be better, like you said, if it was like Christmas or like maybe in between maybe before the All Star break. But
Yeah.
I totally get it that the NBA schedule is kind of tight because like you have the Christmas Day games, and I guess you don't really want to kill that momentum by then having an in-season tournament and then going right into Christmas. And obviously you have the All-Star game in February, and then like it's kind of tight because March and April's playoffs up until June. So basically you have nothing but basketball from now till June, right?
Yeah.
So like I know it's kind of crazy. So I if I was them, I would push it back, or I'm gonna have the NBA season start in September so that an October midseason tournament makes more sense
Yeah.
because like as we said, the NBA season basically starts around Halloween, and then like right now in November, like within the first month of the season, you're having an in-season tournament, which probably should be a mid-season tournament more than
Yeah.
likely.
Yep.
But it's exciting. It's great for those teams. You get a chance to go to Las Vegas. It definitely has added to the drama. The NBA is full of drama anyway. Like they lead the whole sports world in drama, and that's why as a basketball fan, I love the NBA. Like there's always drama. You got coaches fighting on the sideline. Like you got the Celtics doing the hack and drumming to make sure that they stay in their 32-point margin. I really do love it because like it's funny. You have near fights, coaches yelling at each other because they're all like, sorry, I gotta maintain the 32-point margin because people don't know the rules and stuff. I like that, man. That's basketball, man.
Yeah.
Like
No, I agree. I
we've
agree.
all we've all been there. 21 zip or whatever the game is that y'all used to play. Though we'd all go to 21, and it didn't matter. There was no mercy. Like you score 21 points, feast or fire. So like that's basketball, man. Like I am so excited for it, but I definitely agree with you that it either should be earlier or later, right?
Yeah.
So the season either needs to start.
Either kick it off with
Yeah,
it or put it in the middle of the
yeah,
season.
yeah. The season either needs to start in September, which I know would kind of be difficult if you're not if the season doesn't end until June, so it only really gives the players like 2 months, especially with the Olympics coming up. The season's gonna be tight this year anyway. So
Yeah.
like but I think that they need to look at starting it either earlier or later, starting the NBA season if they're gonna have this in-season tournament work and still not interfere with the games, the Christmas games and everything. That's really what they care about, right? Not having anything interfere with those Christmas games.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, so let's go on to something I find even more exciting: the college football playoffs. It's that time of year. It's championship weekend. It's so exciting. I think that this is going to be a wild weekend. I think that so much could happen, and we could have so much chaos if certain things do happen. So, what are your predictions for this weekend? Like, who
all
do
right.
you have?
Let's
Um, Pretty much, are there any big upsets? I mean, obviously, I think both of us would have Michigan over Ohio.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Michigan over Iowa because come
Iowa,
on.
sorry, I said Ohio. Yeah, Iowa.
I fully expect that's going to be like in Michigan. If I'm a Michigan fan and they don't shut them out, like obviously it's a rival, it's a Big Ten rivalry thing, but like if that score isn't like 40-10 or 50-10 by the end of it, I'm going to be disappointed in Michigan. Like
Yeah,
it's not going to hurt their playoff chances, but I mean that's like a built-in blowout, right?
yeah.
uh,
So that one doesn't really matter. Let's go to Georgia, Alabama. Who do you have winning that?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Georgia. I
I
got.
don't know. I think I, I think Alabama's going to be hot after the win in the Iron Bowl. I could see Alabama beating Georgia, and then I don't know what the
Yeah. Who
selection
knows?
committee does. What do you do?
I don't know. Here's what I'll say. Right. I think Georgia's gonna win. I don't know if they'll win decisively, just because Syracuse has poached their DB coach now. But like, I think that Georgia is going to like. I mean, Georgia gets up for these Alabama games,
They
so
do.
like,
No, they do. I
Georgia,
just
I fully expect like the inexperience of Alabama's quarterback to get them. I think it's a lot easier to beat Auburn. This is no disrespect to Auburn.
yeah.
There's a lot of Auburn people in my family, a War Eagle, but there's more Razorbacks in my family than anything else. So to make them happy, it's going. It like Bama is a great team, but I just think that the inexperience of the quarterback, his elusiveness will help him. But I mean, Georgia has them dogs, man.
Yeah,
So like,
I get you. All right, Louisville, Florida State.
oh, Florida State will probably win, but it's going to feel like a loss just because they're not going to let them into the tournament. Like, I
Yeah,
like Florida State.
I
Like, they're
I
not.
they
Yeah,
are praying that Florida State loses, right? Like
yeah,
they have to be. They have to be like really hoping that Florida
yeah,
State loses because if Florida State loses, it makes everything a lot easier. But if Florida State wins, again, what do? You have them right now ranked as 4, right?
yeah. So I think this is going to happen, right? That's going to be a close game. I think that that's going to be like a field goal. I think Florida State will win probably like 30-27. It'll be a tight game.
And they'll
Or-
say because it was a tight game,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like they'll give that to.
Would it be
Uh,
Oregon or Ohio State?
Yeah, I think so. I think that like what'll happen with that is, or like Oregon and Washington, whoever wins is playing for fourth, right? So and it's going to be point differential. So I think Washington will probably make it. There's my dad saying hi. I think Washington will probably make it. He says hi, Morgan.
Hi.
Uh, so I think Washington will win that game probably pretty handily. I don't want to disrespect Oregon because obviously they're gonna be on NBC Air come next year.
Yeah.
But I think Washington just because they have the better defense, and I think we've seen Bo Nix fold when he plays very top 5 defenses before.
Yeah.
I think that it'll probably be 30-20 Washington, but I could easily see it going the other way and Oregon just blowing them out 40-30. But I think like basically I hate saying it like this because I just said point differential for basketball, but
No,
for Oregon and Washington, especially if Florida State wins, point differentials was because the committee like I have Florida State alums in my life, and I think even they understand this. No one really wants to see Florida State without
no,
Jordan
it'll
Travis.
be like who was it last year that got
Cincinnati. It'll be
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
It,
we like Cincinnati. Obviously, there's a lot of former Cincinnati Bearcats in the league right now.
yeah,
that were playing with that team
none of
last
this
year.
is like a dig against the school. It's just
Yeah.
who this is why I think the 12 team playoff is great because some of those early round games will be blowouts and that's fine. But then you really do have the best teams playing in the championship. It's not
So
objective.
let me ask you the question that I think everybody's out to know. You only say a 12-team playoff because if they actually did that this year, your team would be in it.
No, my team still wouldn't be in it. They wouldn't be allowed to be in it. My team's barely allowed to go bowling. So, but
I mean, if they're good next year, they have no complaints.
It's true. It's true. But
yeah.
I mean, do we want to move on to that? Who's gonna win the national championship?
Don't we have one more? We said Florida State. Don't we have one more game? Or did I miss one? No, Big 12's already happened, so we're good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we're good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to
unless
Toledo,
you think,
Miami, Ohio, Toledo?
unless you think Texas is going to like jump
I
everybody.
don't know. Somebody else they talked about that. I was listening to another podcast and they were like, "What happens if Texas wins?" And they were like, "They put Texas in over Alabama if Alabama beats Georgia." And it's like, God, I don't know. It's just there's some really messy situations. If Texas wins, if Alabama wins, there's some really, really, really messy situations. I don't know. Again, I don't foresee that happening. I mean, Texas is going to win. I think Texas is going to win, but I don't no, if Alabama can beat Georgia, then then what do you do? Because Texas has beat Alabama, and this, it's like
Yeah,
it gets really complicated.
I think Georgia's getting in no matter what, just because they're the defending champion. I think if Alabama
Well, that's
wants
fair.
to make the playoffs, then they have to. It's a must win for Alabama. Like
Oh, 100%. They can't
they
go
will
in with two losses. They won't
they
get in
will
with two losses.
definitely put two SEC teams in there, and they've done it before. They will have no problems having
They
two
love
SEC
the
teams,
SEC. Yeah.
one Big Ten team, and then basically telling Oregon and Washington, we don't care. Texas is bigger. There you go. like but
Yeah.
if Florida, if that only works if Florida State loses. If Florida State wins, then obviously Florida State is going to be in there, and it'll be like Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. But again, no one wants to see Florida State. And this is no knock to my Florida State alums.
No,
Um,
again, this is a
without
just
Jordan
fact.
Travis, like that's
Yeah.
your number one. That's the future, like top 10 pick. Like Jordan Travis is that man.
All
So
right,
yeah,
who's
let's
winning?
yeah. Oh man, I've already said, man, I feel obligated to be able to say this just because of my Philadelphia Bull Eagles, like Georgia, man, Georgia Bulldogs.
I think Michigan
I,
has it this year. I think
I
it's
would
their
love
year.
I would love to say Michigan just because I love that us against the world mentality. I mean, I'm from Philly. I love that. I love that mentality. But I
I
just
think
think that
Harbaugh's out after this year, and I think that they're going to play for him.
okay, I can
I,
see it.
and I would like to see that. Like, I have no issue with Michigan. We have some really good friends that are really big Michigan fans, and yeah. So I mean, and I could also see it being Georgia versus Michigan. So we might get to see that rivalry match up.
Well,
And lastly, and most importantly, Syracuse and James Madison University are bowling. This
amen.
is so exciting. I am so excited. You've probably witnessed bowl games before. I have never. So this is extraordinarily exciting for me. I'm like, where's the bowl going to be? We should try and go to the game. Like, I think it's so cool. Um,
Yeah, I am very excited. Syracuse just got a new coach. If you didn't hear me talk about this, they got the Georgia's DB coach,
yeah,
Fran Smith, I believe is his name. And I'm excited about the new coach. I'm excited that the Syracuse Orange are playing for Dino Babers, and they made a bowl game. So I'm totally excited about this. I would like to go, so I'm hoping that it's close enough. The last time I had an actual chance to go, they were in Orlando playing against West Virginia. So I would love to see one of these things live. But I'm so very excited for both of our schools, more your school than mine, because obviously like you said, I've seen bowl games. I just saw one last year, but I'm very excited for the JMU
it's
because
so
obviously
fun.
you guys have been petitioning, and they have no choice but to let you in now. So
They have to.
very
They
very
gotta let
excited for
us
them.
in.
Very
Yeah,
excited for
so
them.
this will be fun. It'll be fun. I think they're predicting that we might be in Florida, which would be cool. And if I could find a cheap ticket, I might go because
Well,
why not?
yeah,
If I can get down there for a day, go see the game, come back. Um,
definitely.
it's the
Yeah,
first one in school history, right?
yeah,
Like you got to go see it.
you gotta go,
Um,
man. I wish I would have gone, but unfortunately, my cousin got fortunately, but unfortunately for me, fortunately, congrats that my cousin got married. Obviously,
you're
her,
like, God,
him,
you couldn't have
him,
chosen a
him,
better weekend to get married. Don't
him,
you know?
him and my cousin by marriage, Jasmine. I think they're getting ready to celebrate a wedding anniversary because they got married like a few weeks before Christmas. So it's about to be, I think, 3 or 4 years since they've been married. Yeah, 4 years. So they got married in no 5 years, 18. So I'm excited for them. And I really do hope that that Syracuse has a more local bowl, and obviously the most local bowl will probably be, I guess, whatever bowl game is played in Yankee Stadium. But
The
I doubt
Pinstripe
that.
Bowl, I think
Yeah,
it's called.
I doubt they'll get that bowl again. That's too on the nose, so they
Yeah.
probably won't get that bowl
I was like, "Can we get the Pinstripe Bowl? That would be so nice, thank you." I'm like, or there's one in like Maryland. I was like, I'd drive to Maryland, like that's fine.
Yeah, you
But
basically you
I'm
basically get
pumped.
to go home.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna be fun either way. So lastly, everyone's favorite segment. He's not him, she's not her. Who you got this week?
Oh man, so let me start. Ladies first. She's not her. my repeat offender, Kim Mulkey. We were
Oh
just
no, I
talking
knew you
about
were gonna say it. I knew you were
we
gonna say it.
we were just talking about one of her players that she's been throwing under. She would say, "I'm not throwing her under the bus. I'm just being me." Right? Oh, Kim Mulkey. Like it's like how many more strikes can you have against yourself? Even before we get to the politics, and we won't get into that, but there's a little loony stuff going on politically. But even before we get to what's currently going on, like the woman had a chance to like advocate for one of her former players, that being Brittany Griner. When she was in Russia in captivity, and she did not. I just cannot. I think we've talked about this before. Like, I just can't get over that, right? Like,
Yeah.
how can you go to, specifically since most of your team is black, how can you go to these different places, right? These future black players, and just say, "I'll take care of you." You do the coach speak. I've never been recruited, but I'm assuming that it goes something like, "I'll take care of your child. I'll make sure that they play. I'll make sure that they're a better woman than they are when they walked in. They'll stay with me for 4 years or whatever, and they'll be better." How can you say that, but also like just like a simple statement of like, I think that Brittany Griner should be safely returned. Like, you couldn't even do that. And that's not even going against the religious beliefs that she says she has, right? All It's a simple statement. Like, that's all. That's all anybody wanted from you. Nobody wanted you to be like, "Hey, yo, like here's my ardent support of the LGBTQ plus community." Like, nobody wanted you to say that. Everybody just wanted you to be like, "Hey, I want Brittany Griner safely returned." Like,
Yeah.
why was the WNBA doing what you should have been doing, right? And now you have this Angel Reese situation where it's just like, I don't know if it's her. Like, if she's folding under this pressure, man. Like, it's just, she's not her, man. It's just, it might be time, LSU. It might be time for y'all to just let that woman go off into the sunset and retire,
Yep.
because like she's not her. And my he's not him. I'm going to continue to say this. Um, I'm going back to the Commander, Sam Howell, man. Pack them bags, bro. like, you're not him. I don't know if you're going with Ron Rivera again, but I mean, once Ron Rivera gets the boot, Sam, like, he's not going to be the only one. You're going to get the boot right back to the bench, because you are not Eric Bieniemy's type of player, type of quarterback. Like, his quarterback is not someone who gets sacked. Like, it's like, Sam, just be ready, man. Luke May might be coming for you, man, because if Eric Bieniemy gets that job, you're not him, man. You're not Fran. We talked about Tommy DeVito not being him. That hurt my soul a little bit because he did play at Syracuse, but again, I understand that. But like, it's, you're not him, man. My she's not her, Kim Mulkey. My he's not him, Sam Howell. Pack them bags. If your family loves you, they're telling you. Like, you're not Eric Bieniemy unless you have a signed written agreement from Eric Bieniemy that's legally binding. Like, don't expect to be the quarterback next year, Sam, if Ron Rivera isn't there.
All right. I will start with he's not her or he's not him. He's not
Yes.
him. I cannot stand this man, David Tepper. The way that he speaks drives me insane. I don't know if you got to chance to listen to his press conference. He was like, "I have never had anyone leave my staff before." Pretty much like, "It's not me, it's you." I'm like, "Bro, you fired two coaches
and you've
without
only been
letting them
the
be here."
and you
Like,
only been the owner for like 2 years.
I'm
Like,
like,
what are
"What
you
is your deal?" He's like, "In my personal life, I'm a really good person and everyone loves me." And I was like, "Mm-hmm. Mm,
saying?
I don't know. I don't know." He just like, and again, I'm not saying that Frank Reich should have kept his job. But I do think that like there's a lot going on about Frank Reich didn't want to draft Bryce Young. He wanted CJ Stroud, and Tepper was like, "This was a unanimous decision." And everyone's like, "But why on earth would Frank Reich want Bryce Young as a quarterback? He's undersized and he plays the exact opposite of the way that Frank played and liked quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud was the same way as him." And you know, whatever the real story is, David Tepper is annoying and I hated his press conference, and he needs to get less involved in all of that because
Spoken like somebody who clipped that press conference.
yes, I did clip that press conference and I was like, what is happening? Like what are we doing? And I am going to She's Not Her, women in sports, for jumping on Clarissa Thompson and attacking her. Okay, here's my thing. You can disagree with what she said. Totally fine and totally valid to disagree with what she said. Completely fine. But to call her disgusting and this and that, like, girls, there's not that many of us in this profession. Like, why don't we need to be supporting each other? Yes, you can say that, like, I don't necessarily think that was the best thing to do, but I think the way that a lot of people handled it was like way too far. And again, I think that if you listen to the whole clip, I don't think what she's saying is like out of this world. I think she's saying that if there were times when I knew a coach really well and I didn't get to talk to him after the game or, after halftime, I would say things that I knew he would say. They need to play harder. They need to get less penalties. That's something that every coach would say everywhere. Yes. Should you be doing that? Absolutely not. Is it against journalist integrity? Yes. But I don't think that the piling on from other women in sports was as necessary. So, again, I don't agree with lying. And I think that if you don't get a chance to talk to the coach, there's an easy way to say, wasn't able to grab coach after halftime, but here are some things I observed as they ran off the field, right? Vibes were low, blah, blah, blah. You can say stuff like that. Again, but I just don't think that the way that some women handled it was great. That's my She's Not Her, because we got to stick together. There's not that many of us, and we, hold each other accountable for sure, but there's a way to do it that doesn't drag people through the mud, in my opinion.
Okay. Hey, we all have our opinions.
It's true.
That's good. That does it for He's Not Him and She's Not Her.
It does. And that does it for another week in the lives of Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson, right? Yeah. I mean, nothing else to say. When we come back, we'll know who's playing in the national championship. We'll have maybe a clear playoff picture. You might even have some teams that are mathematically eliminated. Do we? I don't think we have any teams that are, as of now, mathematically eliminated
from the NFL. From
NFL. No, I think not yet. Hasn't started.
After this week, probably.
Yeah, I think after this week there'll be a few. So we will check back in. Right?
We'll have more coaches fired, more than likely. So.
For sure. Yep. Let's see. The Commanders, we might be doing another round of cuts if they lose again. But hey, I'll be happy. My team is gonna still not have lost next time we speak, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
But we will be back, and have a good day, everybody.
All right.